Hello and welcome to Community Connections. It's SCAN's wonderful program where we learn about folks in the community. I'm your host, Tom Hayes. I'm Director of Customer and Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas, and glad to be with you today, and very glad that you're with us. And you're going to be exceptionally happy you're with us today because we have a wonderful guest in Francesca Alexander, who's Executive Director of All Fur Love. That's F-U-R, All Fur Love.
That's right.
And obviously you work with our beautiful little pets that you happen to have. Who is this on your lap there?
This is Janie.
Okay, so.
And Janie is available for adoption. She's about 5 months old. And she's all spayed and neutered and ready to go.
That's great. Well, that's great. It's nice to have two guests in the chair. It's the first time. It's the first time we've had two guests in one chair. So it's pretty interesting.
Thanks, Tom.
So, Francesca, tell us a little bit about your mission.
Well, All for Love Animal Rescue, we started it in 2012. What we basically do is we're an all-volunteer animal rescue. So none of us take a paycheck. All of us are strictly volunteers. We're a 501c3 organization. We go out and we rescue kitty cats from the community, mostly from precarious situations. We get them veterinary care, and then we find them loving homes. We also do a lot of TNR, which is trap, neuter, and return, and we also provide humane education to the community.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. So where do you have, how many animals do you have actually for adoption at this point, at any given time, roughly?
Well, in the winter it varies. In the winter time, well, we usually have anywhere between 25 and 30 adults available for adoption. Okay. In the summertime, we can take in as many as 75 kittens.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. But right now, thank goodness, our numbers are a little down. We have about 20 available right now.
Okay, that's amazing. 20 adults or kittens?
Kittens. 20 kittens available for adoption, ranging in age anywhere from 8 weeks to 8 months.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So where do you house all these animals?
We do everything through foster homes. So thankfully we have some wonderful, wonderful volunteers who welcome these animals into their homes and take care of them for us until they get adopted. We show our animals at the Pet Value in Manalapan. So they have been very kind to us. They have a cage space there for us, and we put our kittens and cats available for adoption up at the store.
Wow. Now, is that like every day, or is it like certain times of the year?
Every day. We can be there every day.
So you have a number of cages. They allot you a certain amount of cages for that?
There are 2 cages there, and so we can put as many as 6 animals up there for adoption.
Wow, that's great. And does that work pretty quickly? Like, do people come in and adopt relatively quick? I guess it depends. But
it does depend. In the summertime, people are usually looking for kittens, thank goodness. So the kittens go relatively quickly.
Okay.
And in the wintertime, our adults seem to go because, people get, that sentimental feeling.
Yeah.
So the adults tend to go in the winter.
Well, that's nice. It's nice to have some warm, cuddly pet in the winter, right?
Of course,
and
yeah.
Kittens and cats are really easy to maintain. I know we have a cat at home, and it was a kitten at one time and is now a cat, but they're so easy to maintain, and they're just sweet little animals that just wander around the house. And we actually have a dog and a cat, and they get along great, and all
lovely.
that. But
yeah, kitty cats and doggies usually get
along. That's a good companion.
They are. They're wonderful, and she's great. All she wants to do is cuddle and hang out.
Yeah, that's really sweet. That's really great. So when it comes to like funding to do all this work that you do, how do you get your funding?
Well, we do have some grants that we apply for here and there. We do a lot of our adoptions through PetSmart and Petco, and they also help us with funding. But our biggest fundraiser is our Valentine dinner and gift auction. So we do a dinner in February. This year it's going to be February 15th. It's a Thursday night, 2018. And we have about 100 baskets that volunteers donate, and we put out, and you can get little tickets and bid on the baskets, and it's a really great dinner. It's at the DoubleTree in Tinton Falls from 6 to 10, and it's a really fun time. And really, we have about 200 to 250 folks who come out, and all of them love animals. So you see them all, whipping out their phone and showing all their pictures of their animals. It's great.
That's
Everybody
great.
has a wonderful time.
Well, that's a great location. And SCAN is housed here at the Monmouth Mall for our Monmouth County location, and the DoubleTree is just around the corner.
Oh, very close by.
So hopefully our members will get out there to your dinner. That's
that would
pretty
be
exciting.
Great. We'd love to have them.
That's great. That's good to know. So tell me again, how many adoptions do you do a year roughly?
A year, we probably do about 100 adoptions a year because we
Okay.
take in about 75 to 100 kittens in the summertime. So, so we'll fill in that, 100 number with some adults that come
Okay.
through as well. But yeah, so.
Do you get some adoptions, like a little bump up during the holidays, as people are like, any gifts, or like kids want a cat for?
Sometimes, but it's pretty steady. It's
Yeah.
pretty steady.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That's great.
Thank you.
And you mentioned the TNR, and it's letter T, letter N, letter R.
Right. It's
right?
Trap, neuter, and return. So we do quite a bit of that. We usually get phone calls from people, they have a couple of kitty cats that they've been feeding in their backyard, and 2 turns into 4, turns into 8, turns into 12, and then the neighbors start complaining.
Gotcha.
So we go out and we help them trap the kitty cats. We take them to a low-cost spay-neuter clinic and get them their vaccinations and get them spayed and neutered. And if there are any small kittens in the yard, we'll take those, put them in foster, and get them up for adoption.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, I know that you mentioned that before to me, before we went on the air, that you go into colonies and basically work sometimes in colonies. Tell us a little bit about what constitutes a colony. How many cats makes up a colony?
Well,
or,
2 cats constitutes a colony.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But you can have anywhere from 2 to 50. So,
Okay.
for example, we have a colony in an industrial area where we have 6 kitty cats. Someone was feeding them behind their job, and they could no longer feed them, so they abandoned the colony. So we learned about it, and we went out and we spayed and neutered everybody, and now it's become our colony. So we are allowed to go out and feed and take care of these animals, and if anybody needs veterinary care, we trap them up and get them to the vet and get them the help that they need.
That's really interesting.
We do quite a few colonies. We probably have, we've helped out with hundreds of colonies and helped out lots and lots of people with that. And that's how we get control over the cat overpopulation problem. We try and stop the animals from going into the local shelters.
Right, okay, that's great. So the spay neutering obviously, makes it so they can't have more kittens and all that sort of thing, but yet they still stay in their environment in those cases.
They do, yes.
Which is interesting.
Most of them are feral cats, so they're not socialized to people. So you can't pet them and pick them up, so they're really not adoptable.
Right, they're more like a wild animal that you really shouldn't be.
Sometimes they are, they're just not socialized. They're still sweet and cuddly to each other. You still see them interact and rub up on each other, and even they get to know the colony caretakers and they're sweet with us. But to put them in an environment where they have to be adopted, they don't do well. So we just TNR them back out. We provide food, water, housing, and veterinary care for all of the colonies.
So basically the ones that you have up for adoption are typically come as kittens and then grow into adults. If they're not adopted as a kitten, they become an adult, but they're still up for adoption.
That's right.
But that's okay. So that's the difference. That's
right.
how
We grab the kittens very young out of the colonies. So anywhere from newborns to about 8 weeks old, we'll grab them out and socialize them and get them up for adoption. You can socialize a little feral kitten. It's it's a matter of hours sometimes to get them purring.
Right, right. Sometimes I like to try to socialize my little feral children. But
that's not my my expertise there.
Apparently not mine either. No, just kidding. Sorry, kids, if you're watching, I love you. But so that's really interesting. I didn't realize that that's what you did with the colonies, with the adults feral cats, that you allow them to remain in their environment, which is really kind of cool in a sense, because they get to really enjoy their environment and stay there.
Right.
It's like folks like that don't want to be taken out of their homes, and all that sort of thing. They get to stay in where they're used to.
They do, and they're used to that. They've grown up there, so they're used to the climate change, and they're used to, as long as they have, like I said, food, water, and housing, they usually do pretty well. They last a long time out.
And they've survived, whereas the kittens, it's probably harder for them to survive, and there's a lot more, obviously some survive, but you'd like to try to get them out of that environment and get them into a warm, loving home when you can, and where they're going to have a much better quality of life.
Absolutely. Usually only 50% of the kittens that are born outside survive because, the weather and climate change and predators and illness, that kind of thing, takes them very early.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So these colonies are like pretty much everywhere, like or there's like more. Do you find them more commonly at abandoned buildings or something, or is it where people feed them?
They're really everywhere.
Okay.
So people, kind people who start feeding in their backyard, but just, the spaying and neutering gets away from them. So they're in backyards, they're behind strip malls, they're really everywhere.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So now, if people want to help and get involved, I'm sure you could use volunteers.
Oh my gosh, do we need volunteers? Yes.
Okay, and what do volunteers do? Go out and help you trap? And
they can help us trap the kitty cats, transport to the spay neuter clinic and to the vet offices. They can help us with feeding the colonies on a regular basis. We also need foster homes for the kitty cats, all the kittens that come out of the colonies. We also need fundraising volunteers because we can't do this work without money, unfortunately. People who help us,
But, and people love organizations where it's all volunteer based. Like they know that every dollar is going right to the,
That's right.
And so
every single penny goes usually to our vet bill. We have about a $3,000 vet bill at the moment.
Okay.
So we'd love some help, paying that down.
Okay, that's good to know. So people can volunteer or people can donate.
Yes,
right?
yes. And all of the information is on our website, allforlove.org.
All for F-U-R, love, L-O-V-E.org?
Yes, .org.
Okay, that's great. That's really cool. So, that's I'm just interested. So people who want to be involved with volunteering to kind of foster the cats and kittens, what do they need to do, like to be able to do that? I mean, other than contact you, but in terms of the person, like what do they expect to do? They have to be, because some of our viewers and our members of SCAN are retired and
that's actually perfect.
Right?
Retired people are.
Is that perfect as in P-U-R-R?
Yes, P-U-R-R. They are actually our the best people to do our fostering because they're home a lot. So basically what we would do is we would give them, whatever number of kittens they're comfortable with. It can be 1, it can be 5. The litters come in all different sizes. And we provide everything. We'll give them a little cage for the kittens to stay in. We provide the food, the litter, linens even if they need them. And then basically their job is just to cuddle these babies until they're old enough to go up for adoption.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. And it's such good companionship for folks, especially if they're on their own, alone, or whatever. And like I said, a kitten, a cat, right, is so easy to manage.
Yes, yes, they're really sweet. So we have this little girl, Janie, who actually was in a foster home with one of our wonderful fosters who cuddled her because she was very little when we got her. If you can see, she has a bad eye. She was part of a colony that we TNR'd, and she was a very friendly kitten that I couldn't bring myself to put back out. So we grabbed her up and she went into foster. We took care of that little eye. It looks much better now, but she still can't see out of it. But yeah, her foster mommy just cuddled her until she was, old enough to go up for adoption, and now she's about 5 months old, so she's ready to go.
That is great. She is cute, really cute.
Thank you. She's a good girl too. She's really sweet.
Now we've got a few seconds left, but if folks want to donate items, for example, what kind of items do you need?
Always need food. Kitten food is the biggest item we need. So we use Royal Canin kitten food. So baby cat or kitten instinctives, wet and dry food. That's our biggest thing. Purina kitten chow would be great. Cat chow, Friskies canned food, stuff like that.
Excellent.
We always need that.
That's great. Well, Francesca, thank you very much for being with us. That's
thank
terrific.
You, Tom.
Very, very informative. And like I said, first time we've had 2 guests in one chair. That's
wonderful.
It's a milestone for us. But good luck with all you do with All for Love. And again, thanks for being here. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for having us, Tom.
And thank you to all our viewers for watching. And we're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be back in about a minute. Come back.